Suddenly, I was hit by a stomach perforation. The pain was so intense that I nearly passed out. In this critical moment, I frantically called my girlfriend, Mary, a chief physician, for help. As I lay there in agony, memories from my past life flooded back. In that life, she had chosen to save me without hesitation, but missed a call from Jack, who later died in a car accident due to excessive bleeding and delayed treatment. Since then, Mary had always been caring toward me, and we soon got married. But who would have thought that on our wedding day, she would run me over with her car, causing massive bleeding? This is how Jack died. Now, in despair, you get to taste it too, I thought. Reborn on the day my stomach perforation flared up again, I called Mary once more. This time, she chose Jack. According to protocol, you should call emergency services, not reach out to me directly. I'm an internist, not your personal doctor, she said, her tone icy, devoid of the warmth she once had. Jack was in a car accident, and I need to get to him. Since you're so capable, drive yourself to the hospital, she added, before hanging up with a sharp click. Clutching my agonizing stomach, I stared at the torrential rain outside. Dizziness overwhelmed me due to the typhoon. Our city had seen rainfall surge to the highest in the country. In such weather, even a healthy person would struggle to go out, let alone someone like me with a perforated stomach. Drenched in sweat from the pain, I forced myself to pull out my phone and dial 120, but the line was constantly busy. At that moment, despair filled my heart. In such extreme conditions, there must have been countless others in need of emergency help. Gritting my teeth, I stumbled downstairs and sent a voice message to a doctor friend, pleading for assistance. To my shock, they called back almost immediately, their voice laced with irritation. George, stop causing trouble, will you? Our ER is swamped today. Mary was right, don't add to the chaos. No, it's not like that. I have a stomach perforation. Please help me, I begged. Enough with the act. If you have time to call, why can't you drive yourself here? They cut me off without listening and hung up. The pain was unbearable, and looking at the flooded streets outside, I gritted my teeth and decided to wade through. My vision was so blurred I couldn't see the path beneath my feet, forcing me to inch forward with great difficulty. Not far along, I collapsed into the murky water, which instantly engulfed me. The suffocating sensation intertwined with pain, and I gradually lost consciousness. In my days, I seemed to hear someone calling my name, and then the sharp scent of disinfectant hit my nose. Struggling to open my eyes, I saw the familiar white coat in front of me and felt a slight relief. But the next moment, I overheard, "What should we do with this patient?" A curtain was drawn around my bed, and another voice chimed in, "Ignore him, he's faking it." Faking it, yeah. He's Mary's boyfriend, always jealous and possessive. He even pestered Mary about marriage. The neighbors saw him collapse in the water and brought him here. Men like him have so many tricks up their sleeves. Oh, it's him. How shameless. Kick him out. Don't let him hog the bed. Drenched in sweat from the pain, my lips pale, I panicked and grew furious at these words. I am not. The curtain was pulled aside, and a young nurse appeared before me. So you're George. Get out. Stop causing trouble here, she said. With that, she called security to drag me away. My face was deathly white from the agony, my words barely coherent. Tina, please help me. Just do an endoscopy. I beg you. Mary already told me everything. You're just pretending. I was drinking at noon, and now I'm suddenly dying. Stop wasting medical resources. Get out. Just then, Mary rushed in, pushing Jack in a wheelchair. Tina, help him quickly. He was in a car accident, she said. As she spoke, she spotted me. Seeing me being dragged away, her face twisted in disgust. What are you doing here, George? How pathetic. Chasing me all the way to the hospital. Weren't you too sick to move? How'd you get here? Trembling uncontrollably from the pain and held up by security on either side, I had no strength to resist. I could only lower my head and beg, at least give me some painkillers, please. Jack, seeing this, grabbed Mary's arm. Mary, just check on him first. I'm fine. Don't bother with him. If he wants to die, let him do it somewhere else. Drag him out. Mary said mercilessly. I never imagined Mary could be so cruel. The security guards, hearing her words and with the ER doctors ignoring me, hauled me toward the exit. At that moment, it felt like my insides were burning from the pain. Tears streamed uncontrollably down my face, snot mixing in, leaving me utterly humiliated. Passers-by stared in shock. What's wrong with this guy? The security guards slandered me on the spot. Abusing public resources, faking illness, got kicked out. How can someone stoop so low? The crowd shot me disdainful looks, leaving me unable to defend myself. I seized every chance to plead, I'm not lying. Help me, please. But no one listened. Just like that, I was dragged out of the hospital gates. Sitting on the ground, the pain was so intense I nearly passed out. I could only pull out my phone and call for help, but my fingers trembled so badly I couldn't even dial a number. This city had more than just this one hospital, but I had struggled so hard to get here, and it was pouring rain outside. Before I could even make the call, I couldn't hold on any longer. Leaning against the wall, I curled up and collapsed. At that moment, an umbrella appeared over my head. George, what's wrong with you? I barely opened my eyes, mustering the last of my strength to clutch at her pants leg. Help me, it hurts so much. The security guard came up again and said, don't listen to him, he's faking it and obstructing emergency care, wasting public resources. It was Dr. Mary who told us to drag him out. The woman frowned, crouched down to check on me. Stop messing around. Can't you see his face is white from pain? Who would fake being sick in weather like this? She then felt my forehead. He's running a fever too, trembling all over. I clutched my stomach tightly. Stomach, she pressed lightly, and the pain nearly made me vomit. When she pressed again, I couldn't take it anymore and spat out a mouthful of blood with a gasp. She was startled and immediately shouted, quick, get him to emergency. The security guard panicked too, not expecting me to vomit blood right at the hospital entrance. Others who saw me being dragged out by security rushed over to take photos as evidence. Before I could say anything more, I passed out. I don't know how much time had passed when I faintly heard the doctor's voice, George, can you hear me? It was Amy, Mary's senior colleague. I blinked my eyes, and Amy said with a serious expression, you have a stomach perforation and need surgery now. A family member needs to sign the consent form. With trembling hands, I raised mine. Amy quickly read through the risk consent form and then asked me, can you sign? Biting my lip, my fingers shakily pressed down the fingerprint. After that, I was wheeled into the operating room. The surgery lasted a full 3.5 hours. When it was over, Amy looked grim. That idiot Mary, she couldn't even get the most basic diagnosis right. Is she even fit to be a doctor? If this gets out, our hospital's reputation will be ruined. I couldn't understand why Mary thought I was faking my illness. By the time I was wheeled out of the operating room and transferred to the ICU, the anesthesia had worn off, and I slowly regained consciousness. That's when I noticed someone else sitting by my bed, a kind woman who had helped me at the hospital entrance. She looked at me with concern. How are you feeling? I nodded weakly and said, thank you. This is the video I took, I've sent it to you, and I also charged your phone. Only then did I notice my phone was fully charged. Receiving the video she sent, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. Mary doubted I was sick, yet this stranger had given me the greatest help. After thanking her, I was alone in the ward. Before long, Mary burst in, seeing me lying alone on the hospital bed. A flicker of guilt and regret flashed in her eyes. Jack followed closely behind her. George, I came to check on you. Mary said you were faking it, but I tried to convince her otherwise. Now that I see you're okay, I'm relieved, Jack said. I motioned to Mary. Done talking. If you're done, you can leave now. Mary's face darkened instantly. George, you've got some nerve. It's just a stomach perforation, you're fine now. Meanwhile, Jack came to see you despite his injured leg, and this is how you treat him? Watching her lash out in anger, I suddenly found it laughable, but laughing tugged at my wound, making me wince in pain, which only infuriated Mary further. George, you drank yourself into a stomach perforation, came to the hospital to put on a show, and now you're making that face. What exactly are you trying to do? I stopped laughing and looked at her. Mary, I've made up my mind. Let's break up. At this, Jack's eyes gleamed with delight. Mary frowned. Are you done with this drama? I just didn't expect you to actually have a stomach perforation, but you've lied so much before that I didn't believe you. And now you want to break up over something like this. The lies she mentioned probably referred to a misunderstanding during a business trip. Back then, I was in so much pain I couldn't stand straight and told her I felt like I was dying, thinking I had a terminal illness. She rushed over, canceling a meeting, only to find out it was just gastritis. Because of this, she was publicly reprimanded by the hospital. Since then, her colleagues all knew me as the boyfriend who made a mountain out of a molehill, with Jack stirring the pot. My relationship with Mary had deteriorated, but now that I was the one initiating the breakup, she actually refused. I was surprised. Wouldn't it be better for you and Jack? Isn't that what you've always wanted? Mary's face turned ashen. Jack and I, it's not what you think. Jack looked at her in disbelief, then put on a wounded expression. George, I know you hate me. It's my fault, I shouldn't have clung to Mary. I impatiently said, enough. You know you're still clinging on. Isn't this just being shameless? I am sorry. I was wrong, I said, looking at him with disdain. If you know you're wrong, then kneel. Just saying sorry is useless. Mary clenched her fists. George, don't go too far. I glared at her and demanded, and you, Mary, how did you even get into medical school? You couldn't tell I had a perforated stomach. Fine, but how dare you let them drag me out when I was in so much pain and sent to the hospital? Aren't you afraid they'll report you? Shut up, Mary was furious. What does this have to do with Jack? It's all your own fault. As for your illness, who knows if you're lying again? Fine, I was wrong this time. Let it go. It'll pay the medical bills. If I weren't in so much pain after surgery, I would have slapped her. Who cares about her money? Get out. I was shaking with rage, and my wound hurt even more. Mary tried to argue further, so I grabbed the water cup by the bed and hurled it at her. It hit her forehead, and blood immediately trickled down. Finally, I felt a bit of satisfaction. Jack screamed, "How could you hit her? George, you've gone too far." He rushed over and slapped me hard across the face. My vision went black, half my face went numb with pain, my ears rang, and I collapsed backward uncontrollably. Jack gritted his teeth. Stop pretending to faint. Mary, are you okay? This time, I didn't care if she was okay. I knew I was in trouble. The monitors by the bed started beeping frantically. My ears buzzed, my head spun, and my stomach hurt unbearably. A group of medical staff rushed in, led by Amy. Seeing my condition, she snapped, "Who did this? Step forward." Only then did Mary realize I was still a post-op patient. She stammered, "I didn't mean to." With her swollen, bleeding face, no one believed her. Amy checked me over and confirmed that the slap had nearly knocked me out and could have been disastrous. After a few minutes, I recovered enough to see Amy's concerned gaze. My eyes welled up, and I said, "Call the police." Your hospital staff barged in, provoked a patient, and even encouraged the other woman to hit me. Jack was stunned. You hit first," his voice was shrill and loud, a stark contrast to my weak state. But no one expected him not to deny being the other woman. I sneered inwardly. Seems Jack was used to these ambiguous relationships, she didn't even deny the label. I hit back because you pushed me too far. You knew I just had surgery, yet you came to interrogate me, even offered to pay my bills. Is this how First Hospital treats patients, ignoring them in crisis and making amends afterward? My words made him pale. Thanks to Mary and Jack's constant smears, the staff saw me as a troublemaker, but now, in this state, their lies fell apart. Amy turned to Mary. When you dragged the patient out, someone filmed it. The hospital is discussing how to handle this, and you came to provoke him. Mary, what were you thinking? Get out and write a self-criticism now. Mary was speechless. I looked at Jack and took a deep breath. I've already called the police. I showed my phone to Jack. Your reckoning is here. Jack froze, and I turned to Mary again, warning her sternly. A minute when I said we're breaking up, you'd better stop bothering me. Seeing the determination in my eyes, Mary finally realized I was serious about ending things. Amy looked at me and said slowly, "You should rest first." She examined my injuries and prescribed medication, but I insisted on getting a medical evaluation. When the police arrived, they reviewed the hospital room surveillance footage, which clearly showed Mary and Jack harassing me. My reaction was an act of self-defense under provocation. In the end, Jack was taken away by the police. Mary anxiously pleaded with me, "George, he didn't mean it. Get out, Mary. You should be worrying about how to handle the public backlash instead." Even now, she was still trying to defend Jack, utterly foolish. How had I ever fallen for someone like her? After Jack was taken away, Amy checked my wounds again and noticed signs of reopening. She treated them once more, the pain making me gasp. She scolded me, "Stop being stubborn. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Your life is your own. Don't keep pushing yourself like this." Amid all this chaos, Amy was the only one who genuinely helped me. Grateful, I smiled at her and said, "Thank you. No need. I just can't stand this kind of thing." As a doctor, letting emotions cloud judgment and failing to assess a patient's condition properly, delaying treatment and nearly costing a life, she has to face the consequences. "And you, stop drinking from now on." I nodded. After Amy left, Mary never showed up again. Jack was detained for 7 days, and I firmly refused any settlement. He was also fined $500. This isn't over yet because of what Mary and Tina did to me before. A critically ill patient was dragged from the emergency room to outside the hospital, nearly losing their life. Fortunately, a conscientious doctor like Amy noticed and saved me. When the news spread, public outrage erupted, and First Hospital became the target of widespread criticism. Netizens flooded the hospital's official comments section with condemnations. Left with no choice, the hospital had to shut down the comments section and even sent someone to negotiate a settlement with me. That someone was Mary. It had been 7 days since I last saw her, and I had already been discharged from the hospital. I didn't tell my family about the surgery. When I stepped out, Mary came forward to help me, but I took a step back, avoiding her hand. She froze in shock. "George, let me drive you home." "Sure, why not take advantage? After all this suffering was because of her." Sitting in the passenger seat, I caught a whiff of strong cigarette smoke. I never smoke, so it was obvious who had left that smell. I couldn't help but sneeze. Seeing this, Mary quickly explained, "A friend smoked in the car earlier." "I'm sorry." She hurriedly rolled down the window for ventilation. No need to apologize to me. I put on a mask and stayed silent. About 10 minutes later, we arrived home. Looking at the familiar building, everything seemed back to normal, but my heart was filled with bitterness. You know what? The floodwater was so deep that day I couldn't walk through it. The road to the hospital felt endless, like it was a world away. But today, I realized it's just a 10-minute drive. "Mary, why did you think I used my own life to threaten you?" Mary opened her mouth to defend herself. "I know it's my fault, but Jack, don't mention him. I won't forgive you. Since we're breaking up, let's make it clean. Remember, we have nothing to do with each other anymore. Whatever the hospital decides about you is your business, not mine." I cut her off, opening the car door to head upstairs. Mary grabbed my wrist, making me wince in pain. "Let go. George, I accept that my job is affected, but Jack is innocent. He only acted out of concern for me. Please let him go." I laughed bitterly. "Mary, do you know why I drank until my stomach perforated? You introduced Jack to our company, and he messed up an order. I went to salvage the client so he wouldn't get fired or face compensation. I was such a fool to clean up his mess, almost losing my life in the process. Could you forgive that? Because I sure can't." Shaking her off, I went upstairs and immediately started packing. The apartment was rented by Mary and me. I never really wanted to live together, but over time, my things had accumulated. Now, looking at them, I felt nothing but disgust. Picking them out one by one and throwing them in the trash, it took me 3 hours to finish. Thankfully, Mary didn't follow me up, letting me dispose of this trash in peace. After resting, I scrolled through my phone and unexpectedly came across Jack's post. He had already been released and posted on social media. "So lucky, no matter where I am, you're always there to protect me." In the photo, Jack held a bouquet of flowers, leaning affectionately against a woman's shoulder. Though Mary wasn't fully in the frame, the small mole on her right cheek was unmistakable. What a piece of work. One moment she's apologizing to me, the next she's picking up Jack as if she wanted me to know just how awful she is. I placed the keys in the entryway, took one last look at the house, and turned to leave without hesitation. I checked into a hotel, hired a lawyer, and planned to sue the First Hospital while also filing a complaint with the health department. If Mary wants to fly off into the sunset with Jack, then I'll sue Jack too. The injury assessment done at the hospital finally came in hand. Even if the compensation isn't much, they must pay for what they've done. After handling these matters, I returned to the company after my leave. Jack was detained for 7 days and naturally lost his job. When I arrived at the office, he happened to be there to process his resignation. Seeing me, Jack's eyes were filled with venom. "George, are you satisfied now? Even if I leave, Mary won't take you back." I looked at him with a mocking smile. "Trash, if you still want to mess around with her, go ahead. Easy for you to say. You chased Mary for 6 years, just a simp. Now you suddenly break up. What?" Playing hard again with Mary absent, Jack dropped all pretenses, his words growing uglier. It was true. I had pursued Mary for 6 long years, thinking even a stone would warm up eventually. But her heart had always belonged to Jack. I shrugged. "Then I wish you a happy marriage. May you never part. Jack, keep your woman in check. If Mary bothers me again, I won't hold back." Jack snorted coldly, finished his handover, and left. I thought the matter would end there, but Jack had no intention of letting it go. He tearfully complained to Mary, saying I bullied and excluded him. However, Mary was already in a precarious situation herself and had no time to spare for him. The hospital was conducting an investigation into her. 3 days later, I saw Mary again. I sat in a hospital conference room, facing the leaders from the health department and the hospital's management team, with Mary among them. After just a few days, she seemed like a completely different person, utterly dejected, with none of her former vigor and confidence left. When I entered, Mary gave me a complicated look, quickly averting her gaze, as if feeling guilty yet also harboring a hint of resentment. Raising an eyebrow, I noticed Amy was also present. She introduced me. "This is Dean Shawn, and these are the leaders from the health department. Feel free to voice your concerns, we will fully cooperate." I sat down, looked at everyone present, and calmly stated, "I have only one demand: to expel an unethical doctor like Mary from this hospital." Hearing my words, Mary was stunned. "George, do you realize what you're saying? It took me over a decade of hard work to get where I am today, and you want to destroy all of it with a single sentence?" I couldn't help but sneer. "Do you deserve those years of effort?" After the incident, others at least apologized sincerely, but you lack not just medical ethics but the most basic human decency. "Sorry, but I insist on severe punishment for someone like you. In my past life, she caused me so much suffering. Now, reborn, I nearly died because of her again. How could I possibly let her off easily?" Mary clenched her fists tightly, veins bulging on the back of her hands, as if she still wanted to argue. I knew she must be seething inside, but I wouldn't soften my stance again. After listening to me, Dean Shawn exchanged opinions with the health department officials and then spoke. "Mr. Jang, training a doctor does indeed take a long time. Mary acted out of selfishness this time and is no longer fit for her current position. After deliberation, we've decided to transfer her to the logistics department. How's that sound?" Mary froze and hurriedly protested. "Dean Shawn, Aiden cut her off. Not now. Mr. Jang will also compensate you accordingly." I didn't refuse the monetary compensation, it was what I deserved. The physical and emotional trauma Mary caused me wasn't something I could easily forget, but this compensation at least eased my mind somewhat. The negotiation lasted 2 hours, after which I signed the settlement agreement, and Mary was transferred to the logistics department. I knew she might still try to start over, but in this hospital, her reputation was thoroughly ruined. And since the online backlash hadn't died down, I wasn't in a hurry. After leaving the meeting room, I posted the entire story online, informing everyone that the matter was resolved and I was ready to move on with my life. But netizens weren't convinced. "George, if you're being threatened, change your profile picture. I heard Mary rejected you for that homewrecker. What's so great about him? I know this guy, a regular at bars, just a gold digger. Mary picked the wrong man. What's so charming about him? His tricks are so obvious. How do women still fall for it? Don't you have any judgment? Who needs judgment? Anyone can see he's scheming, but some people just can't resist freebies. So this is the kind of person Jack is. If Mary knew all this, would she still act the same as before?" Netizens are buzzing with discussions, and I still have plenty of evidence in hand. During the 6 years I was entangled with Mary, Jack knowingly interfered despite her having a boyfriend. Those provocative videos and photos he sent me, I've kept them all. The timeline is clear, the evidence is irrefutable. There's no way they can turn this around now. After my expose, Jack was already fired from his company and now can't even find a job. Mary isn't faring much better either. The first hospital originally planned to transfer her to a peripheral department first, then move her back to her original position once the storm blew over. But after I brought everything to light, I completely cut off her escape route. What patient would dare let a doctor like her treat them? Mary will probably be stuck in the logistics department for the rest of her life. Not long after, Amy sent me a message: "George, Mary is pregnant." I was a bit surprised. Although I knew they had been together for a while, hearing this news still caught me off guard. I thought to myself, they really are messy, having a child so soon. I quickly replied, "How far along?" Amy responded, "Almost 2 months. Today I saw her test results, and she even sent out invitations. She's marrying Jack." Reading this message, I instinctively clenched my fist. Although Mary and I had been entangled for 6 years, hearing that she was marrying someone else still left a bitter taste in my mouth. But soon, I let it go. What did it have to do with me? I chuckled lightly and sent a voice message: "Let them get married, then I wish them well, as long as they don't bother me." Amy sighed in relief. "I was worried you might feel upset." How could I? I'm not the type to cling to the past. As long as they don't disturb me, I don't care. Ever since Amy saved me, we had gradually become friends, chatting often and sharing everything. I'm not the kind of person who can't move on. Mary getting married? Well, she got what she wanted. In my past life, because of Jack's death, she treated me so cruelly. Now she's finally marrying the one she loves, and I've finally escaped that nightmare for good. After hanging up the phone, I let out a long sigh of relief and then requested a transfer to another district at work. The new job kept me so busy that I didn't have time to pay attention to Mary's wedding. I only heard from Amy that Jack was still as boastful as ever, posting dozens of short videos about their wedding details on TikTok, which led to online backlash, reports, and boycotts. I couldn't help but laugh. This man truly has no shame. A month later, when I invited Amy out for dinner, she mysteriously told me Mary had a miscarriage. I was shocked. How did that happen? Amy raised her eyebrows and said, someone online mentioned that Jack is a regular at bars and has been involved with many women. This time, he came home drunk and mistook Mary for one of those women, forcing himself on her. Mary was less than 3 months pregnant, and just like that, the baby was gone. She was furious and returned the $300,000 Jack gave her. They haven't been married long, and now they're heading for divorce. Hearing this, I was stunned. She wouldn't come bothering me again, would she? Amy laughed. Who knows? You'd better be careful, but I don't think she has the nerve to come looking for you. Honestly, I never wanted anything to do with Mary again. After dinner, Amy had to rush back to the hospital for an emergency. When I returned to my new place, I found Mary waiting at the door. What are you doing here? I asked. Mary looked haggard, her eyes sunken, and she had lost a lot of weight. Seeing me, she grabbed my wrist. George, I quickly shook her off. George, can we start over? Her eyes were full of pleading. I couldn't believe my ears and said sternly, Mary, don't disgust me. There's nothing left between us. George, I was wrong, she said. So wrong. I never imagined that the man I thought was pure and virtuous would be so messed up in private. He treated me like this. I've lost everything. This is my punishment. On our wedding day, so many people cursed me. Some even said I was being cheated on. I didn't believe it, but now I don't know how to face any of this. How did I end up here? A bitter smile flickered across her lips. I looked down at her with disdain. But these were all your choices, weren't they? In our past life, you killed me for him, and in this life, you finally got to be with him. Don't be too greedy. If you get what you want, learn to cherish it. Mary stared at me, her eyes red and her face blank. So you know about our past life too, George? I truly know I was wrong. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just a chance to make it up to you. To spend the rest of my life compensating you and show my guilt. I sneered. Are you going to divorce him and marry me, spending the rest of your life compensating me to show your guilt? Her lips trembled, but no words came out. If not, then don't come looking for me again. Every time you show up, it makes me sick. She paled. It shouldn't be like this. In our past life, we were married. It shouldn't have turned out this way. Mary, you lost your place with me long ago, I said, pointing to the door and telling her to leave. But Mary refused to back down. Just then, a figure suddenly rushed out from the side and shoved Mary toward the window. Mary, you heartless woman, you can't let go of him, can you? He'll kill you. It was Jack. Mary hadn't expected him to appear. The two struggled in the hallway. I lived on the 6th floor. If something happened, it'd be disastrous. I quickly pulled out my phone to call the police. Just as I was about to dial, I heard a scream followed by a loud thud. To my horror, Mary had pushed Jack out the window. Stunned, I shoved Mary aside and looked down. A pool of blood on the ground, Jack, motionless. I turned to look at Mary, who panicked. No, it wasn't intentional. I didn't want him to die. I shouted at her, you're insane. Go down and save him now. Don't forget you're a doctor. Only then did Mary snap out of it and rush outside, but Jack had already stopped breathing. The neighborhood had recently been renovated. What used to be a green area below was now hard concrete with a parking lot. Jack lay in a pool of blood as people gathered around. Someone quickly called 120, and I took the chance to report to the police. Mary collapsed on the ground, her eyes empty. When the police arrived, I truthfully recounted what had happened. The surveillance camera at my doorstep had recorded everything, and I followed them to the station to give my statement. When Mary's family arrived, they lunged at me, screaming, "It's all because of you, you jinx. If it weren't for you, my daughter wouldn't have ended up like this." I grabbed her mother's arm and shoved her aside. Back when Mary and I were together, her mother had never liked me. Though I came from humble beginnings, I still had my dignity. If it weren't for my lovesick brain back then, I wouldn't have chased after Mary so persistently, something her mother used against me, saying I had no self-respect. But now, I wasn't afraid of her anymore. Seeing me push her away, her mother threw a tantrum right there in the police station, even assaulting an officer. The situation escalated, and she was detained immediately. After giving my statement and providing the surveillance footage, I left. When I told Amy about this, she was equally shocked. Jack was always a party person in his early years, but Mary was the only one who thought he was decent. Now, just 2 months into their marriage, this happens. It's what they deserve. Did you know during their wedding, Jack secretly invited a bunch of his bar friends to liven things up? Rumor has it that Mary's mother turned pale at the sight of her son-in-law's wild crowd. They almost started stripping on stage. Mary should have realized something was off then, but she was pregnant and didn't pay much attention. Who could have guessed? I never imagined the man Mary idolized would turn out like this. Now she's finally facing the consequences. But I don't feel the slightest bit of satisfaction. Instead, it just reminds me how unpredictable life is and that we should cherish what we have now. Mary's case was adjudicated 6 months later. Jack's family demanded a life for a life. Mary's mother exhausted all her resources and finally secured a letter of forgiveness from Jack's parents. In the end, Mary was sentenced to 20 years in prison. On the day of the verdict, I also went to the courthouse. When the judge finished reading the sentence, Mary looked up, saw me in the crowd, and suddenly burst into tears, kneeling on the ground to apologize to me. Expressionless, I turned and walked out of the courtroom. I've finally escaped the fate of being murdered, and Mary has paid a heavy price for her betrayal. As for me, there's still a long road ahead. The moment I stepped out of the courthouse, I looked up at the sky clear blue, with a gentle breeze brushing past, full of life everywhere. I no longer have to worry about nightmares. Mary was just a rough patch in my life. After this brief pause, I'll set out on a new journey.